And now it's a time for some very special guests we have tonight. I'm delighted to welcome John King, who is a member of the Harvard Board of Overseers, a former U.S. Secretary of Education under the Obama administration. I actually met John 25 years ago when he applied to be a founding teacher at City on Hill Charter School. He's gone on to a career in education that is remarkable. And I don't want the Harvard people to take all the credit because he also has degrees from Columbia and Yale. So John, welcome. Appreciate it. Appreciate having you here. Joining John is Ariel Kim, who you saw on the video. Ariel is going to graduate from Harvard College in a few weeks. She is currently the Mission Hill director of the summer program, which John worked at when he was a SUP counselor. And it's great to have you on, Ariel, too. John, tell us about why you're here tonight and if you could reflect back on your time in Mission Hill.
Sure. It's great to see you, Charlie. The Mission Hill summer program changed the whole direction of my life, really. You know, when I came to Harvard as an undergrad, I wasn't always sure that it was a place that I belonged. You know, as a kid, I grew up in New York City. Both my parents passed when I was a kid, and I got in a lot of trouble as a high school student. I actually got kicked out of high school. And so when I got to Harvard, I was not sure it was the place for me. I sort of felt like someone at some point was going to come tap me on the shoulder and tell me they made a mistake. But I got really involved in Phillips Brooks House programs, and in particular the Mission Hill summer program, and fell in love with working with young people who had the kind of challenges that I had as a kid. And I could see in working with young people in Mission Hill the difference that teachers could make. It's what led me to become a teacher. I ended up coming back and teaching at City on a Hill, right in the same community, only a few blocks from where we ran the Mission Hill summer program. I ended up staying in the community, lived a few blocks from where we ran the summer program in Mission Hill, ended up starting a middle school and was a middle school principal in Roxbury, in Mission Hill, in the same community. Ended up having students at my school who were family members of students who I worked with through the Mission Hill summer program. So it shaped really the trajectory of my life, the intensity of the relationships with students, with families, with community, the understanding of the difference education could make. And yeah, I wouldn't have had the life that I've had if not for the Mission Hill summer program.
It's a remarkable, John. I've known you for a long time, but your life story, every time I hear about it, every time I hear you speak or read about you, I know, and you shared that you lost your mom and your dad before you were a teenager. You were literally expelled from your high school. And now you're raising two daughters, I believe.
That's right.
What do you hope that we can do with the young people who come to the camps? What would you hope for your daughters if they were campers at Mission Hill or any of the other SUP camps?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I most hope for is that it's a place where kids feel safe and supported and seen and cared about, right? And that's the kind of work that you've done, Charlie, for decades, right? Trying to create spaces where young people can be themselves and can feel supported and can have positive relationships with peers and mentors. Of course, we also want to create the joy of learning and give kids the opportunity to have great academic experiences, to do cool science experiments, to learn about the history of their community, to do projects in class. So there's the academic piece, and certainly in the context of COVID-19 and school being closed and kids losing a lot of ground academically, that academic piece is critical. And then, of course, it's an opportunity for kids to create and explore their artistic side. I loved when in the Mission Hill summer program when we would do our final show and kids would work on performances all summer. Those experiences are also part of what makes for a great summer. It's not just academic, it's also all of the enrichment and the arts and athletics and trips and exploring the city. All of that may be more challenging now in a COVID-19 context, but we want kids to have a great, memorable summer that they enjoy.
I really appreciate that. Before I turn it to Ariel, I want to ask you one other question. You talked about your career. You talked about what you've learned and how you've grown and the value of education for you once that clicked on for you. You then became the 10th ever Secretary of Education for the United States of America. You're a former Mission Hill SUP leader. Why should the people tuning in tonight, why should they put their hard-earned money and resources into SUP? What would the pitch you would make if you were making the pitch, which I'm asking you to do?
Yeah. Well, look, we know how vulnerable young people are in the summer. And the evidence is very clear. Students lose ground, low-income students, students of color in particular, lose ground academically in the summer. Summer is often a time when kids get into trouble. Kids can get off track in the summer. There's a lot of evidence that teenagers who aren't engaged in the summer, that's when they start to get into trouble, end up joining gangs, make bad decisions that change the whole trajectory of their lives. So for the students who participate, participating in SUP programs can be transformative for their lives and their future. But then there's also the impact on the young people who are involved in service. I mean, this, Charlie, again, this is what you've done throughout your life, and certainly at City Year, for example, this is the same idea. There's both the service impact and then there's the service experience. And when I think about my classmates who were involved in the Mission Hill Summer Program, Eric Dawson, who now runs Peace First, an international program teaching kids conflict resolution skills and giving kids opportunities to be of service to their community. Scott McHugh, who's doing teacher training and was himself a principal and teacher. Farrah Stockman, who writes for the New York Times and actually wrote a powerful series for the Boston Globe about the Mission Hill Summer Program. So, you know, it really sets people on a path that is transformative for their lives and gives them a sense of service and purpose and contribution and community that then shapes their whole professional life. So I hope people will invest both in the impact on the students served and the impact on the students who are doing the service.
Awesome. John, we so appreciate you being here tonight. I'm kind of bummed out because you look the same as you did 25 years ago. You haven't changed at all. Okay, so that bums me out. You remember I had a full head of hair.
Same. But your hair's a little different. Other than that, the same.
But you bring the essence of this generational passing the torch, right? So, and you're still doing the work. And the people you talked about, from Scott to Eric to Farrah, that's an all-star team. And so Ariel and Ari and Thomas and all the other people, we'll be talking about them at the 27th annual auction. So I know you have a really busy schedule. I just want to thank you. We're grateful for what you do every day, but also for making time to be with us on a Friday night.
Thanks so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, you're awesome. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ariel. Ariel, you have big shoes to fill, literally and figuratively. John was in your shoes a while ago. Introduce yourself and share what you're doing this summer.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Charlie and Mr. King, for being here this evening in support of SUP. It's such an honor to be here with both of you and Mr. King to just hear about what you've done and like what you believe in. And it's, I don't know, it makes me have a lot of hope for this summer and also think a lot more deeply about the past couple summers and the past 4 years as well. But yeah, so my name is Ariel Kim. I'm a senior at Harvard College. I'll be graduating later this month. And my journey with SUP began before I'd even heard of SUP. I was a volunteer my first semester of college with the Mission Hill After School program, and then was the family engagement director. And then that's how I found out about the summer program, which was the greatest discovery I have made in all of college. And I've been involved ever since. In 2018, I was a senior counselor for Group 1. So I worked with 6-year-olds and made curriculum for them for 6 weeks and hung out and had a great time. And then in 2019, last summer, I was a director for the summer program. And then this summer, I'm back for my third and final summer with SUP.
And then what are you going on to do?
That is a great question. I am entering the working world. I'm hoping to work in education around nonprofit, haven't nailed down the exact details. My focus right now is definitely on getting the summer program running and hitting the ground running really for the next couple of months. But yeah, hoping to go into education, nonprofit, something like that.
So this segment is, I call it the Special K segment, Kim and King. And John, I would ask you, if you had any advice for Ariel and the other staff who are running the program this summer.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think it's going to be really important to address some of the socio-emotional needs that kids are going to be bringing this summer. You think about kids who are home with school closed. They're maybe in a home where there's addiction, or there's abuse, or there's economic trauma. Think about all the folks who are unemployed, the level of hunger that we're seeing in communities. All of that takes an emotional toll on kids. And for many kids, school is the place that is safe and supportive, where they have positive relationships with peers and adults, and they've been missing that. Particularly if they don't have access to internet and devices in the home and all the things necessary to participate in distance learning, they've been missing that for months. And so this summer has to be about, yes, of course, addressing academic needs, but also addressing those socio-emotional needs, giving kids a sense of security and hope about the future.
Love it. Ariel, you up for that? You ready for that? That's serious.
Yeah.
I'm not making light of it, because what John just referenced in terms of the social and emotional work it's very real, and it's serious. And the near peer relationship, I think, can really help that. So thank you both. Appreciate you both. Inspired by both of you. John, I am really thankful that our paths continue to cross.
Absolutely.
Over the years in different cities and different formats, and hopefully that continues for a long, long time.
Thank you for being such a mentor and role model of a life of service, Charlie.
Appreciate that, John. Thanks. John and Ariel, you rock, both of you. Take care. Have a great weekend, John.